All right, guys, what is up? Welcome back to another Goodman video. Hope you like the new format, and if you don't watch it. Now, we are going to get into a new video today, which is a little bit longer, about 20 minutes, and we're going to do a cup or like 4 different things. It was a big day. We got Mahmood with me, so let's get into the video. So we start off with our great intros of who Mahmood is, even though he's been in some videos and whatever. I don't know why I introduced him like that. But anyway, this is the 8 Mile house. We have other videos about this. It did sell, finally. We didn't make a ton of money on it, but we did make money. Investors made money, I made money, so I'm very happy about that. This is Mahmood just making sure that this is the right key, because I went to the closing, forgot the key, and then I was like, oh, hey, I'm sorry, I forgot the key. Can I just go get it for you? And they're like, sure, go put it on the house, put it on top of the electrical box. And then Mahmood, I said, just check to make sure it's the right key, make sure it unlocks it. And then he's like, dude, what do I do? Oh my gosh, looks at the camera like an idiot, right? Anyway, I'm joking, he's fine, he's a great guy. So then locks the door, puts it on the thing. Now the sucky thing about this is when I sold it, I bought like $800 worth of HVAC equipment for the windows. And then they're like, at the closing, like, haha, guess what? We're gonna put mini splits in it. And I'm like, thanks, I could have saved that money. Why didn't you just tell me that? Like, they went and bought it themselves. So again, I don't understand that, whatever, it doesn't matter. Moving on, we're at the college house now because we've got a bunch of trash to pick up. Like, you know the Wild Wild West movies where you watch them and then you have a tumbleweed go across the camera. Well, in the hood, it's like that, but with trash. So we have all this trash going across the camera and doing its thing. So we came over here because we had a huge pile. You can see where there's kind of like a dead spot, and there was a humongous pile of trash that people kept putting stuff on. Finally, the trash truck came by, picked it up. So we went over here, picked everything up. I'm sorry for the crotch shots. That this camera, just the way it is, this is like new to me when I was filming here. Now, when we get later on in life, hopefully the camera will be better. I think it is. I think I'm doing a better job than I'm doing in these videos where I just keep showing you guys like what's in between my legs. So again, sorry about that. Just bear with us as we deal with this technical difficulty. So anyway, going around the whole house, Roberto was here. He did the siding. Of course, left it in the back because that's what Roberto does. That's his MO. At least he painted the stuff on the house, which was great. He did a lot of good work on the outside and the inside, so I really appreciated that. But he could have just taken the siding and just put it into wide Mahmood, yes. Could have just put it into the trash can. Whatever, we're moving on. Mahmood's working out, dude. He's looking thick. All right, anyway. Next, we've got a Section 8 house call. This is number 3 event of the day. And this Section 8 house call, we have a hole in one of the ceiling tiles, and then we have a shower that's leaking. Now, this house has a lot of stuff to explain, so let's see if we can get all of it done in the time that it takes me to do this repair, while I'm also telling you guys about the repair. So we walk into the house, and remember, this is, I'll just tell you what time later on, but we're trying to sell this house. We had it under contract. The people that had it under contract, they called an inspector, one of their friends, to go over there and look at the house. They do this is how they do things. I don't know, whatever. Guy goes in the house and goes, this is the most disgusting house I've ever seen. There's roaches everywhere. There's like weird air mattresses everywhere. There's stuff everywhere. It's disgusting. It smells horrible. And we're not going to buy the house. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. I understand. So I let this tenant know that they said that. She immediately starts going in on me, and I'll kind of get into that in the later, after we get to the end of these repairs that you're about to see here. But I'm just like, great. So that's the kind of feedback we got from this house. So I'm just letting you know. Now remember, this is 11 o'clock in the morning, all right? 11 o'clock. You and I, we're up. We're working. We're doing our thing, okay? It's 11 o'clock. Well, it's 10 o'clock right now that I'm filming this. So, I mean, obviously I'm up working. This is work, right? Anyway, so Mahmood and I knock on the door. We wait a little bit. Now we get someone that comes to the door, and it's a very fast, like, open and then go back to whatever they're doing kind of thing. So I'm like, okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. So we head on in. 11 o'clock, folks. Remember that. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people sleeping in the living room, and the tenant's in the dining room just chilling out with her baby. I don't understand why we're all in the living room. That part I don't really get. Now you can see all this stuff. This is typical. This is typical Section 8 housing. Okay, this is what it looks like. Anyone on TikTok that goes, oh no, you can make them not do this, that is BS. It does not work that way. They will live the way they want to live, and you will live with the way that they live. Okay, this is the kitchen. You can see I haven't seen those counters in 6 years. This lady's been there for that long. She pays about $828 in rent, all from Section 8, which is why I'm trying to sell the house, because I cannot get the rent up. They will not. Section 8's like, we have one person for 5,000 people that want rent increases, and it's going to take us a time. And it's really, I've had rent increases in for 2.5 years. They've never gotten to them. And they probably never will. So I'm trying to sell her with the house, get rid of the house, get rid of her, and everyone's happy. And then the new people can take care of this. So anyway, moving on to the shower. Shower is super mildewy, super moldy, super everything. It's great. So we got that issue, but again, like I said, it's leaking. We don't know where it's leaking. We have every time I walk in these houses, right? These are not like where I walk in and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I have so much like knowledge of what's going on. I have zero knowledge of what's going on. I am just told it's leaking. Can you fix it? Sure, I can fix it, I guess. So yeah, so that's what happens. So I'm like, we're gonna put some silicone along the wall that she said the water was leaking out of, and we'll see if that fixes it. Spoiler alert, it does not fix it. So I got to figure out what's going on. There's also a pipe that you push up, has like a suction mechanism on it for the drain. It's something Odie sells. So I have that down there. The pipe may have fallen down in the basement. I just need to push it back up and then put a strap on it. That could potentially be the problem. I don't know. So we'll figure it out. But you can see in the darkness, if you look close enough, you'll kind of see that there is a lot of nastiness, a lot of dirt. I wouldn't touch this thing with a 10-foot pole with the bare foot. And yeah, I don't know. But like I said, this was a lot worse a couple weeks ago. But she cleaned the house. So she cleaned it. And this is what we get. So the floor is sticky. There's the toilets nonstop have problems because they just flush all their stuff down the toilets. And then they call me to come unclog it like 500 times. Last time was a pencil. You can see that one on TikTok or Instagram. Or on YouTube Shorts. That's right, YouTube. I'm sorry. I'll keep saying YouTube Shorts from now on. Anyway, so, and remember, whenever you see me pull my camera out and like in the middle of the screen like this, okay, it's because I'm filming those YouTube Shorts. Okay, and also Instagram and TikTok. Anyway, so next thing we got is we have the ceiling tile that has the hole in it. This is not from a roof problem. This is from a rat problem. Now, I don't take care of pest control in my houses. That's in the lease. I don't do that. But I will help with rat control. She has not asked me to help with rat control. And then she's like, there's a rat hole. And they put like this tinfoil tape on it, whatever. It's disgusting. Whatever. So we move on. Mamu gets up there. He pulls down the tile. It's got like rat poop rains down on top of him. It gets all in his hair. This is why you don't need long hair when you're working what I'm working in, the field. And then he's like, I can put this tile up. Of course he can't. So then I end up doing it, which it takes about 20 seconds to do because I do this all the time. Even though Mamu said he could do it in 20 seconds. That's not true because Goodman always knows how to win and he wins in this situation. So this is taken care of. This is done and we're very happy. And we're moving on. Now, I told the tenant about how nasty the house is going back to that inspector. And she said, well, there's roaches because of the water. And then the shower head is broken somewhere. And then the thermostat is broken somewhere too. And I was like, well, those last two things you've never told me about. And who broke them? I don't have a response from that yet. So we're in the middle of a fight right now in between text messages. So I'm dealing with that. It's a lot of fun. But this is what I deal with Section 8 is that there's no responsibility taken by a tenant, right? I am okay with taking responsibility if something's my fault. Like HVAC goes out, that's not the tenant's, usually not the tenant's responsibility, usually my responsibility. But, you know, when your thermostat's broken, why is it broken? Like, I lived in my parents' house for 20 years, and the thermostat never broke in their house. I've lived in this house for 3.5 years. Thermostat has never broken. I lived in the Southside house, which we're about to look at in a few seconds, right here where we're fixing for the frat. And they haven't broken a thermostat, and they've been there for a year. I was here for like 5 or 6 years in this house, never broke a thermostat. So I'm just confused. What's going on here, right? Why are we breaking stuff? But of course, there's no responsibility taken. I'll never know what the real thing is going on. And there's no responsibility taken by the tenant. So we're gonna have a nasty house. Try to sell it. Probably never will sell. Have to get rid of her. It's just the way the world works. I gotta increase the rent. And I already told you, it's just never gonna happen. So anyway, moving on to the Southside house, which is the frat house, as we all know. So the frat is living here. I used to live here with my wife. I used to live here with my friends. I'm sorry, my cat is now walking across my screen, and then she's probably going to hit my pause button here in a second. Hey, get out of here. Yeah, get out. Bad cat. Anyway, so I rented this to a frat because I was like, what can I... First off, it's the fraternity I was in when I went to UAB, and I said, we never had a true house. Like we'd have to move from house to house to house to house, because at UAB you can't have your letters on a house. They don't have like a fraternity row and a sorority row, anything like that. They have like suites for the sororities. What's weird. So I was like, you know what, with this one, I have this house in Southside. If I rent it to them, the upside is that I can always have tenants in there. They'll always pay, and I don't have to worry about it. The problem is that it wasn't supposed to be the party house per se, but then 6 months into them living there, like, it's the party house. So I'm like, okay, well, now I got to work on rules and dealing with that, because the problem is with the college guys is that they're all about like, we're gonna live in the now, we're gonna do it as hard as we can, we're gonna go hard, we're gonna party, we're gonna do whatever, do all these things. I have to lay down rules so that we can keep the house forever, right? Okay, I'm gonna keep my house forever, but are you gonna stay in the house forever? I'd like for you to, like for the fraternity to have that, but it's not up to me. If you don't follow rules, we'll see. So we'll see how it all goes. You guys will see the whole saga unfold if something really horrible happens and whatever. But anyway, so we're here for two things at the frat house, which number one, my lawn guy was like, hey, the HVAC units outside are like sagging down and they're literally about to fall through and you probably should reinforce them. So I was like, okay, I got you. When I put this together, when I built this deck for the HVAC units, this was many years ago, and I put 3 1x4s underneath each one because I said that's literally like overkill, guys, right? 1x4s, of course. Anyway, so the 1x4s are all sagging because this is super heavy stuff, and they're always like vibrating, right? Because they're on. And yeah, so we're gonna shore them up. I got 2x6s. Yeah, I went big. I went huge this time. I didn't go 2x4. I went 2x6. All right. So this is going to lift up. And it's going to work out really, really well. Just shoring it up. This is a temporary fix, which will end up being a permanent fix because I'm never going to come back to this probably because I'll totally forget about it. And that's usually how things go. When you're the guy who rents them, owns them, does everything to them, you forget stuff. And I'm very forgetful when it comes to this. Now, Mahmoud has no clue what he's doing here. I'm like, can you please just shove the piece of wood? Hey, get off. Sorry, cat's eating the plastic. Mahmoud's like pushing the wood up and he's like, it doesn't fit, oh, whatever. And I'm like, dude, if you would just do it, like put it in cattywampus and push it up, it would work. It's Mahmoud though. So I went and I cut it again. I was like, all right, I'll cut it shorter. We'll slide up there. Of course, it's cut short now, but I was like, we'll make it work, whatever. Mahmoud, you're right. I was wrong, okay? Just make him feel good about himself. But anyway, he doesn't know how to cut. He doesn't know how to put the wood up. He doesn't know how to do the drill. He doesn't know it. So I make him get underneath the units because I'm like, that's where you're going to die, right? And I'm not dying, okay? So Mahmoud's in the nice, horrible, and look at the position he's in. Like he doesn't want to get under it. So it's like, I'll let my legs get crushed and I'll just have no legs for the rest of my life. But I'm not going to put my head underneath it. But then he puts his head underneath that one. So that's where I just wasn't really understanding what was going on in his brain. But who really can understand what's going on in Mahmoud's brain? Sometimes you got to take your brain, turn it on. That's what you need to do. So Mahmoud just doesn't really have his brain turned on this one. That's okay, I guess. But anyway, get this thing drilled in. I have to straddle him over doing this stuff because it's like there's no other way. I'm not going to walk around the entire house. I'm like, I'll just do what we do best. So we get this great shot that's coming up here in just a second. Boom, what a beautiful shot. And we made sure that TikTok and YouTube Shorts and Instagram all have those shots, so you can watch the video, very abridged, of this fix. So anyway, that was all we had to do outside, and that took care of things for probably forever, because I'm probably never going to go back to this until I'm just like bored out of my mind, and I'm like, okay, I'll go back there and work on stuff. Oh, I can't wait. I need to get this algae off too. It looks horrible. But anyway, so now we have a tenant that's in the fraternity house. I don't know why I zoomed in on that, but whatever. And the guy was like, hey, one of my outlets doesn't work. Now, he has 5 outlets in his room or 4 outlets in his room. One doesn't work. So he's like, I need this fixed. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. We'll come fix it. Now, this is 12:30 in the afternoon. Let's remember that, 12:30. And I'm like, all right, we're going to come fix it. We'll fix it. I forgot I told him I was going to fix it the week after this week that we're fixing it right here. So we walk into his room, and lo and behold, he is still sleeping. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, well, I was like, I'm here to fix your outlet, dude. And this is what I was told. Oh, bro, I've been working hella. What does that mean? I looked at my mood because I'm like, you're 20. What does I've been working hella mean? And he's like, dude, I don't even know, because that's not the way you use that word. So, of course, now the joke is every time I walk over to that house, I say something, hella, and just keep going back and forth. But we had a terrible attitude from the tenant. We're doing exactly what he wanted, but we're not doing it on his timeline, which is we're doing it earlier, which usually when your landlord comes in and does something earlier than you asked for it to be done, you're very happy about it, but apparently not this time. It seems to me that I always have the proclivity to get into a situation in which I do something that's supposed to be good, turns into something horrible, and then the people hate me for it, even though I'm doing exactly what they want and in a better time slot situation. Now, we're sitting out here in the hallway waiting for him to leave his room. He's a terrible attitude, very snide, very snarky, whatever. Like, why don't you fix your own outlet? Go on YouTube and figure it out yourself. This door right here is the closet room, is what we used to call it. Isaac used to live there when we used to have, before I moved in with my wife, we had about 5 guys. It was me and 4 other guys. We lived here in this house. Super fun times. Really loved it. This house is very special to me. I love that I get to keep it and keep renting it out. Worth it. Tenant gets out. Thank goodness. Okay, another snide remark, or just like walking past like him as his dad, like, okay, dad. Anyway, whatever. He watches this. Doesn't matter. Because is it truthful? Yes. And if the truth is said, can you really be mad about it? Yes, you can be, but that's your own fault. So, outlet doesn't work. I'm going to guess it's something's loose. And it more than likely is. And I'm actually right, because it is something's loose. So I'm like, okay, we're at 12:17. Now that proves it. I have a timestamp of when I went in this house, okay? So why are you not up? Whatever. You've been working hella. Obviously, we're going to make a shirt. It's going to say, working hella. Everyone's working hella for the weekend. So we get all this stuff off of this outlet. I just can't. Now I really want to make that shirt. Get this cover off the outlet. We move the outlet out and everything like that. But first, before we do that, I got to make sure that this electricity is off. So I look at Mahmood, the smartest guy in the room, right? Smartest dude. And I say, Mahmood, I need you to go turn off the little breaker thingy. And I want you to flip the breakers until we figure out which one's which, because it's not labeled, or it was labeled. So I'm like, why don't you just flip off all the ones that say bedroom plug, right? But he doesn't think to read. That's okay. Doesn't need to read. So I'm sitting here waiting for him to flip until that thing turns green. And then we sit here for a long time. And
1 hour later.
As longer than I thought. Green. There we go. So after the power's off, always make sure your power's off. There's one time where I first started being a slumlord, and I was at the duplex, and I did not know that the breaker for the oven was outside. And so I was actually messing with that receptacle and could have killed myself with 50 amps of 220 pulsating through it. So let's not die out there, folks. Let's be safe, slumlords. Anyway, so this is the outlet. The issue, of course, was that the neutral was completely like just falling off it. We redid the electrical in this house in 2017 completely. And we did all the plumbing, all the electrical, all the sheetrock. Everything in this house was completely redone in 2017. So I knew that it wasn't like something like horribly wrong. It's just gonna be something loose. I don't like the way that the electrician did these plugs. They like where they take off part of the sheathing and then like wrap it around the outlet. It's just, to me, that's just laziness. Like just cut it, just strip it, and whatever. It doesn't matter. So that was all that was needed for this. Put it back in. Now remember, I test things before I put them back in. Electricians are good, so they just like, I know this is right, put it back in, we're good to go. Me, I'm like, I do things wrong all the time. So I'm like, I need to make sure that we have this nice and tight, everything works, everything's checked, everything is like grounded, perfect, move on with our lives, okay? And so that's what we do. We check it, we put it back in, and then we're good to go. But remember after doing all this stuff, we still got a snarky little boy downstairs that's mad that dad came by to fix his outlet. So I have to go back down there, and I have to make sure that I tell him, hey, everything is nice and fixed, okay? So this is where I'm gonna turn on the Goodman smile. I do with all my tenants. He doesn't know what I've been through today, where I've been, the nastiness I've seen, all the trash I picked up in the yard, all the keys I put on top of electrical boxes that Mahmood had to do and then took forever to do. He doesn't know all those things. Now, this is me looking down at my castle, my former castle, right? All thinking about all the good times. Anyway, go downstairs, tell the tenant, hey, look, everything's done with the plug, all right? And then he literally is like, hey, you remember that you said you were gonna be here like next week, not this week? And I was like, no, I'm sorry, I don't remember that, but I'm sorry that I came to fix your thing early. Because I was like pointing out to him, like, usually people are happy when people come in early to fix things, but not you, so whatever. Anyway, and he was just like, oh, well, whatever. And then he was like, why do you have that camera on your chest? And I was like, oh, because I do YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. He's like, oh, cool, what's your name? He's like all snide about it, like, oh, you're gonna have like 2 followers or whatever. I don't have a ton of followers, right? I'm like an F tier celebrity, or not even the alphabet celebrity. But when he saw my TikTok and my Instagram, he's like, oh my gosh. And I was like, whatever. So at least we got some like street cred now. Maybe he'll stop being so nasty and snide to me. Probably not though. But anyway, I digress. I forgive, but I never forget. Anywho, because I have to do his curtain rod this week, I think, coming up. So anyway, that takes care of our day. That's 4 things. We had the trash pickup, we had the key returned, we had the Section 8 house call, and we had the frat house call. So, and then I got the daughter in the background telling me it's time for me to get done with this video. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, comment, like the video. And with that, this is Goodman, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.
This is Goodman, back with another Suck It Up!